Good morning to all of you. My name is Bryce Harris. I have the pleasure of serving as the Chancellor of the California Community Colleges, and it's really a pleasure to welcome all of you to the 13th Annual Dr. John W. Rice Diversity and Equity Awards here at the beautiful Sterling Hotel. Give yourself a round of applause. Before we get started, I do want to ask you to also acknowledge and applaud our musical entertainment this morning, Franklin Court. They just disappeared. There they are. I guess we're actually going to feed you guys. That's probably a good deal. Great. I want to acknowledge a couple of special guests who will appear a little bit later in the program as well, but it's certainly a pleasure and an honor for us to have with us this morning Mrs. Clara Rice, and please give her a round of applause. It's also fitting to acknowledge the CEO of the Foundation for California's Community Colleges, who have helped provide the financial support to make this morning's breakfast and ceremony possible, Keitha Mills. Keitha? We also are lucky to have a member of the Assembly with us this morning. I want you to acknowledge and thank Ken Cooley, Assembly Member Cooley. Thank you. And now we're going to have our national anthem performed, and I'd like to bring to the podium Brandy Howdy G to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Now, let me tell you, all professional singers will tell you that's the most difficult song there is to sing. Give Brandy another round of applause. It's now a pleasure to introduce Dr. Manuel Baca, who has spent much of his life in higher education. The mission of community colleges is his mission as well. He earned his associate's degree at Rio Hondo College and has returned to his alma mater as a professor of political science. He's a past president and current member of the board of trustees of Mount San Antonio College, and he helped craft our system's strategic plan, and most recently was a key member of the Student Success Task Force, which led to the landmark Student Success Act of 2012, a law that is already having a tremendously positive impact on creating access for all. Please welcome to the podium California Community College Board of Governors President Manuel Baca.
Thank you, Chancellor. Good morning, Ms. Rice, Gary Vasquez, Assemblyman, a guest. It's great to have you here this morning. I would like to, if it's okay, introduce my fellow board members who are present here this morning. Of course, Vice President Jeffrey Baum is up on the podium here. Member Danny Hawkins. Member Joseph Belansky. Member Henry Ramos. Let's see, Member Gary Reed, where are you? There you are. And let's see, Lance Asumi is not here with us this morning, but he was in our meeting yesterday. And then we have Member Malumed and Member Natalie Berg, who are not present this morning because of personal reasons. But it is my pleasure to be here. I enjoy this meeting, this gathering immensely that we have every year in honor of not only John Rice, but also in his memory, the fine work that's done here. Dr. Rice was not only a former member of the California Community College's Board of Governors, he was a pastor, a counselor, an educator, an activist, a husband, a father, and a mentor. He was born November 3rd, 1923 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His father, a Presbyterian pastor, early on instilled in him the desire to help others. And Dr. Rice later said his father was his greatest role model. Young John was also encouraged to go to college. After attending Stillman College, he earned a history degree in 1946 at Johnson C. Smith University in North Carolina. It was at Johnson C. Smith University where he would later receive his divinity degree. Dr. Rice moved to Birmingham, Alabama to become the director of education at Westminster Presbyterian Church, which was founded by his father. He also worked as a coach, teacher, and counselor in public schools. During this time, his only child, Condoleezza, was born. In 1964, Dr. Rice moved his family to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to accept the position of Dean of Students at Stillman College. From 1969 to 1985, he was a professor and served as Assistant Vice Chancellor at the University of Denver. Following the death of his first wife, Angelina, his daughter persuaded him in 1985 to move to Palo Alto to start a new life. Dr. Rice then held academic positions at Stanford University, and in 1989 he married Clara Bailey, a school principal. He was appointed in 1992 by Governor Pete Wilson to the California Community College's Board of Governors and served on the board until his death in 2000. He was always driven by a powerful desire to help change lives for the better. As a board member, Dr. Rice was a forceful advocate for diversity, equity, and student success in community colleges. He influenced policies and programs to make sure underrepresented students got the opportunity to succeed. He always said that the students who can truly succeed should get the help they need so that they don't fall through the cracks. His life and his body of work in education show that Dr. Rice believed to his core that opportunity can equal success, and when the success is enabled, molded, and guided by the diversity and equity this state and this nation affords them, we indeed all succeed. Thank you. And now it's very much my pleasure to reintroduce our Chancellor, who's attending the Rice Awards for the first time. He's a former professor, a former college and a district administrator, and a man who has been instrumental in many projects and programs that have increased student success in line with increasing diversity and student equity. I've had the opportunity to work with him on many things, including the Student Success Task Force. We are indeed very fortunate to have him at this very timely, at this very important time in our community college history as the Chancellor of the Community College System, Dr. Bryce Harris.
Thank you, and I want to again take this opportunity to recognize the members of the Board of Governors, Dr. Baca and his colleagues, for their dedication to California's community colleges. These are all volunteers who give of their valuable time to lead the nation's largest system of higher education, and they are often unsung heroes who labor intensely in the background to make certain that all of us who work in our day job with these colleges have a fabulous system in which to work. So again, we thank all of you. There are just two other quick introductions I want to make today before we move into our program, and it's really a pleasure to welcome to this event this morning a man who has a long and steep tradition in our work, who stood in the position I'm in for quite some time, former Chancellor of the California Community Colleges, Tom Nussbaum. Tom? And it's also great to have the leader of an organization that none of us could do this work without their support, and that's the CEO of the League of California Community Colleges, Scott Lay. Scott? Again, I want to thank all of you for being here today to show your support for the diversity and equity work we do on our campuses and through our centers, district, and here at the Chancellor's office. I offer my warmest welcome to all of you for attending as we celebrate the legacy of our former board member, Dr. John W. Rice, and the accomplishments of our award winners, Project Math, a program from the Los Angeles Community College District, and Greg Moralia from Napa Valley College, who you're going to hear a lot more about in a moment. It's true that we live in the nation's most diverse state. So it's no wonder that the nation's largest system of higher education is fiercely committed to diversity, equity, and student success. We demonstrate this commitment every day, day in and day out. Our policies, our programs, and our efforts, our administrators, faculty, and staff, and students build on, preserve, and promote a culture of unity, equity, and inclusion on all of our 112 campuses. We are united in the diverse and efforts to ensure our colleges diverse, equitable, accessible, safe, and respectful places for all of us. I'm proud to be part of this wonderful system of higher education because it embodies a strong commitment to diversity that enhances our classrooms, our communities, and our world. I'm not just talking about diversity of skin color, but also in ideas, backgrounds, experiences, languages, ideals, abilities, faith, gender, and sexual orientation. Diversity empowers us to lead deeper and, quite honestly, richer and more interesting lives. Much of our system's focus the past few years has been on increasing student success. The California Community Colleges system is leading the nation in developing innovative reforms aimed at increasing certificate and degree completion rates. Attaining a college degree is a key indicator of how an individual will fare over his or her lifetime. Our colleges are on the front line of serving all students. However, many of our students must overcome significant life challenges in order to reach their educational goals. Ensuring access to higher education is only half the equation. Equally important is granting students a real opportunity to succeed upon entering our colleges. Over the past couple of years, our Board of Governors has led our system in a student success initiative that will help students of all backgrounds reach their educational goals on time and increase the number of students who attain certificates and degrees. Under the Board's leadership, 21 of the 22 recommendations of the task force are being implemented already. A prime goal of the Student Success Initiative is to close achievement gaps. With the recent release of the Student Success Scorecard, we now have a valuable online tool that will help colleges identify those gaps and develop strategies to better serve historically underrepresented students. But student success is linked to student access. Without one, we cannot have the other. In order to experience success and graduate with an associate degree or certificate, students must first find a seat, and there must be faculty there to teach them. The passage of Prop 30 in November was a welcome acknowledgement on the part of the voters that investment in higher education is critical to our state's civic and economic well-being. For the first time in years, we are seeing an increase in classes offered. Summer school is no longer a thing of the past, and students are getting farther along in their educational pathways in a shorter amount of time with these intercession offerings. This means more access to the hundreds of thousands of students who have clamored for seats in our colleges, who are trying to improve their lives and the lives of their families. Our state's businesses are constantly looking for well-trained employees to hire, and our community colleges provide them. Those businesses will be able to find more of the employees they need, and that helps our economy. Our student body pretty closely reflects our state's demographics. Hispanics represent roughly 38% of our state's population and about 31% of our enrollments. African Americans represent about 6% of the state's population and about 7% of our student body. Dr. Rice demanded a diverse college community. We are succeeding in providing that access to these underrepresented constituencies, and our efforts in helping create student success are beginning to pay off. Maintaining that diversity and fostering student equity will always be at the heart of what we do as the nation's largest system of higher education. Our 2.4 million students deserve and desire nothing less. And congratulations to all of our award winners today. They certainly do not undertake their great work for the sake of an award. They do this work because they saw a need and a solution and then made it happen. They've gone above and beyond, and we honor their successes this morning. But their commitment to diversity and student equity, for them, what they accomplished was simply the right thing to do for their fellow professors, their students, and their communities at large. The recipients of the John W. Rice Award this year, without a doubt, please Mrs. Clara Rice. Mrs. Rice attended many board meetings and college tours with Dr. Rice. We've been fortunate to have her with us at this ceremony for every one of the past 13 years. So it is with tremendous pleasure that I introduce to you a real California Community College supporter and a wonderful woman. Please join me in welcoming Clara Rice. Clara, it is with a great deal of pleasure and honor that I present you with this modest token of our appreciation for your tremendous support of our students and colleges. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. It is again such a pleasure and a great honor to be asked for the 13th time to come and be a part of the Diversity and Equity presentation. And I believe this is the 5th year that we have had the breakfast award ceremony. And all of this is done in recognition of my late husband's work on the Board of Governors of California Colleges in the area of diversity and equity. Each year that these awards are given brings John's memory back to me as big as life. The memories of things that he was so passionate about, such as education, particularly in the area of equal opportunities, and that's for all students to excel to their fullest, no matter who they were, where they were, or what situation in life they were. He knew that lives could get better for those who might be different, if only they had the chance to be given an equal opportunity. Some of you might know, others might not know, that John and I shared the same passion, so much so that Condoleezza, his daughter, my stepdaughter, started an after-school program at the school where I was principal to give us a chance to put our passion in order. We started this program, and it was called Center for a New Generation. My school and this program was populated with minorities, students who needed a boost, a chance to experience things that other children who were more advantaged were experiences, such as advanced classes in math, science, language arts, creative writing, debating, music, band, and choir, and art classes. Students from all over the district applied for these 3 hours after school program. And I am still seeing the wonderful results of these students doing great things in music. They're great teachers, and most of all, they're good citizens. After John passed and after I retired, they tried to keep this program going. I think it lasted for about 3 years. And it is my belief that probably what happened is that they did not have the passion that John and I had. We got up in the morning talking about Center for New Generation, and we went to bed talking about New Generation. We loved seeing what it was doing for the children who probably would not have never experienced success. So I can understand why John chose diversity and equity as his work on the Board of Governors for the California Community Colleges. This was his passion, and that is why it is so heartwarming that you have chosen to have this award ceremony to honor the work that he did. And it's even more heartwarming to see that there are colleges and individuals who are doing just what John's dream was. And I would like to congratulate the 2 awards recipients for 2013, the Project Match from Los Angeles Community College District. In keeping with John's dream, this project provides students with quality teaching and is committed to the principles of inclusion and diversity. I wait in anticipation to hear more of how this is being done. Congratulate you for your insight and your success, Project Match. And the next award recipient is Greg Moralia, Dean of Career Technical Education at Napa Valley College. He has made a great impact in hate crimes training and education, and not only has he done this at Napa Valley College, but also statewide and nationwide. I understand that his leadership has brought cultural diversity training for trainers of California law enforcement programs statewide. Congratulations to Greg and Napa College, and I'm looking forward to hear more about your program. This is a great day, a wonderfully planned day, and I would like to thank Chancellor Bryce Harris, the President of the Board of Governors, Manuel Baca, the Vice President of the Board of Governors, Jeffrey Bonds, and to all the members of the Board of Governors. I would like to also thank the President of the Foundation for California Colleges, Keitha Mills, and the members of the Rice Committee, especially Paige Dorr, who is the glue for keeping all of this together, the programs, the decorations, and many, many other things. And I would like to thank Kimberly McDaniels, who took Tosh Place. Tosh took care of me for 12 years and seeing that everything I needed to do in order to get here. So Kimberly McDaniels, thank you for taking over for Tosh and keeping me in the loop. And to all the volunteers, especially those who work at the sign-in table, and to all of you who have come and who keeps coming to be a part of this award ceremony, I want to say thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rice. I'm married to an elementary teacher, and she never let me forget the best thing a K-12 teacher can have is a great school principal, and I know you were one. Thank you. It's now a pleasure for me to bring to the podium Jeffrey Baum, who is the Vice President of the California Community Colleges Board of Governors, has been a member since 2008. He is also a member and past president of the governing board of the Pasadena Area Community College District, and now serves as Managing Director of the Center on Communications, Leadership, and Policy at the University of Southern California. Please welcome Vice President of the Board, Jeff Baum.
Really, it's an honor for me to introduce you to an inspiring leader and fellow son of Orange County. Gaddy Vasquez, for Gaddy, a college education was a way out of poverty. The son of migrant farm workers, Vasquez was the first in his family to receive a college education, an associate degree at Santa Ana College, and then a bachelor's degree in public management, service management from the University of Redlands. Since graduating, Vasquez has had a distinguished career, an unrivaled career in public service, I would add. He became a policeman and then became involved in politics, working as Governor George Deukmejian's liaison to the Hispanic community, and later as the governor's deputy appointments secretary. He went on to become chairman of the Orange County Board of Supervisors, where I first met Gaddy almost 30 years ago. In 2001, he was nominated by President George W. Bush as the director of the Peace Corps. While leading the Peace Corps, he was credited with increasing the diversity of its volunteers to its highest levels ever. A short time after leading the Peace Corps, he was quoted as saying, "I consider it a high priority to expand the diversity of the Peace Corps so that it becomes a true reflection of America. Diversity of ethnic backgrounds, life experiences, and beliefs has strengthened our country in countless ways. And in doing so, we achieve an opportunity to engage a broader segment of the American population in one of our nation's greatest programs." In 2006, he was nominated to become United States Ambassador to the UN Agencies for Food and Agriculture in Rome, and both times he was confirmed by the United States Senate. In 2009, Vasquez was named the executive director of the Annenberg Foundation Trust at Sunnylands, which you may recall was in the news last month, which organized the meeting between President Obama and President Xi Jinping of China and helped advance American public diplomacy in that way, in foreign policy. And I currently serve, and Gaddy and I share this connection, I can serve as also as Director of Communications and Public Affairs for that Sunnylands Trust. He has traveled to more than 60 countries, but he credits his start at Santa Ana College for setting the stage for his life's greatest accomplishments. He currently serves as Senior Vice President of Public Affairs for Southern California Edison, a tremendous partner to community colleges up and down the state, and one of the nation's largest electric utility companies. Please join me in welcoming and honoring Gaddy Vasquez.
Well, thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to join you this morning and to be able to participate in this great program that recognizes the great work of Dr. John W. Rice. And as I was listening to the bios and the backgrounds of the individuals, the connections here are rather remarkable, actually, and they weren't planned or designed this way, as you will come to understand here in a second. I too am a PK. I am a preacher's kid. A. B, I happen to have a well-established friendship with Condi Rice that spans a quarter of a century, and we were privileged to work together dating back to the days of President George Herbert Walker Bush. And I was privileged to work with the president of the board, Manuel Baca, in the city of Orange when he lived in Southern California, and we worked on some community projects. And, as you've now heard, Jeffrey Baum and I have the association through the Sunnylands Trust. So I am feeling right at home and pleased to be here this morning to just say to you that I am grateful that the work of great people like Dr. Rice is not forgotten, but that it is recognized and acknowledged through a legacy program such as the one that we are engaged here today. I value that because for me, my community college education was really one of those important pivot points in life. So as mentioned, I am the descendant of a migrant farm working family. I was born in the state of Texas. My parents moved to the metropolitan area of Watsonville, California, as migrant farm workers. Those of you who know Watsonville know why I refer to it as metropolitan Watsonville. But that was a place where a lot of migrant farm working families established their residence. And I remember that in those days of extreme poverty for us, where I lived on a trailer that sat on dirt with no running water, no heating, no cooling, and no electricity, We used to go to Taylor's Hot Dogs for a special night out, and those of you who know Watsonville know Taylor's, because it's still around, actually. And the prices are still good, so I commend it to you. But my mother and father, neither of whom graduated from high school, like some of you perhaps in this room, believed at that time, and still do today, that education for many is the passage out of poverty. And in the case of my mother, who again did not acquire a high school education, but who had that inspiration, that raw inspiration, and that maternal belief that was really what consumed her as we were growing up, used what modern-day people would consider non-traditional, unconventional techniques, because as we were going through school, there were times that my priorities did not align with my mother's priorities. And when those moments did arrive in our household, I'd like to say she would go out into the yard and look for a branch of hope and find that branch and shed the leaves off of that branch and come at us with some inspiration. Now, I want to be clear, because I mentioned this once, and a woman came up to me afterwards and said, I think you may need help because it sounds to me like you might have been an abused child growing up. I said, ma'am, I was not an abused child. I was a highly motivated child. My priorities became my mother's priorities became my instant priorities. And hence, it was her proud moment to sit at my college graduation as the first generation to ever graduate from college. It was her privilege to travel the longest distance that she has ever traveled in her life, to go to Washington, D.C., and sit in the Benjamin Franklin room at the State Department as she watched her son, this guy, taking the oath of office, being administered by another great American who has achieved tremendous things in her life through inspirations of her father and mother and those around her, and that was Dr. Condoleezza Rice, who was then the Secretary of State. It's amazing how life's journey takes us to these moments and to these places. And it reminds me of another occasion when a friend called and said, Gaddy, would you like to come over and have lunch? I'm having somebody over for a little lunch, and maybe you'd like to meet this person and spend a few minutes with her. And I thought to myself, well, okay, let's do it. Wasn't sure. I frankly thought it was going to be one of those cattle call events where you'd listen to a speaker and you'd be on your way and so on and so forth. And I walked into this room and discovered that it was 6 seats around a table. And I looked at the crowd, some who I knew, and then I cast my sight on a woman who was standing across the table, who eventually would sit directly across from me. And that woman was Rosa Parks. So for the next 2 hours, I had the high privilege of sitting across the table from Miss Rosa Parks. I was struck by her soft voice and her gentle eyes, but truly not one to be underestimated. Rosa Parks was a leader with purpose, whose courage and determination ignited a debate that transformed the thinking and the direction of a nation. Today, we are in the midst of a national debate on immigration reform, which in my opinion represents part of the deliberation and discussion we need to have about diversity. And understanding that diversity has always been part of this great nation. It doesn't matter how far back you turn the pages, whether it's to build the great railroads of America or to build the subway of New York, you see the hands and the labor and the sacrifice of men and women who represent the diversity of our great nation. In the aftermath of 9/11, the rebuilding of the Pentagon was built, it's estimated, by immigrant workers who made up about 40% of the workforce, most of them Latinos, who came from other Latin American countries to this great nation that we call home, the United States of America. And it's in those moments, and this is a moment, that requires courage, that requires passion, that requires the understanding that diversity is a strength, and that is in that diversity that we will build the future of this nation to be competitive, to be relevant, and to be the leader that it has always been in this world. Rosa Parks really never asked to be in the limelight. I don't think she came into this world believing for a moment that someday she would become iconic and a leader and a transformational leader. But she often remarked that she didn't seek the limelight, and she once said, "Whatever my individual desires were to be free, it was not about me. There were many others who felt the same way." And I believe with all of my heart and with all of my intellectual capacity, as limited as it may be, that those of us who are gathered in this room here today believe in that possibility. I know I do, because I was a migrant farm working kid who found a path to Santa Ana College at 17th and Bristol in the city of Santa Ana. And I found educators and believers, and back then a different kind of dreamer, who believed that with the right education and the right possibilities, you could do great things in this country, the United States of America. So, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you this morning celebrating what Santa Ana College provided to me, but also hoping that you will continue to do the great work that you have been doing, those who are being recognized today for what you have done, because there are many other Gaddy Vasquez's and otherwise who are waiting in the wings, hoping for the opportunities. I've been blessed to see the world. I've been blessed to lead the United States Peace Corps, which I commend to you as the best job in the whole wide world, leading Americans who believe in the possibilities, but who they themselves also represent the diversity of the United States of America, because the Peace Corps is the face of America to the rest of the world and the countries in which these great Americans serve. And I will leave you with this, that I draw inspiration from others who have paved paths and opportunities ahead of me or will come in the years to come and are still now just beginning to bloom and grow. But there was one person that I admired and from whom I drew inspiration as director of the Peace Corps, and that was Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa understood the meaning of being a humanitarian. She understood the value of giving more than receiving. And she once said that God never gives us more than we can handle. I just wish God didn't trust me so much. Thank you very much this morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vasquez, for that inspirational set of comments. I want to take a moment to remind all of us about the John W. Rice Award. It was established by the Board of Governors 13 years ago after Dr. Rice's passing. The award recognizes a community college staff member or program that has made significant contribution toward faculty and staff diversity or student equity. Nomination forms are sent out in March of every year, and a panel of volunteer readers from the field and from across the Chancellor's office is assembled to go through those nominations and select the winners. I understand we had a record number of nominations this year. No doubt that would have made Dr. Rice very happy. Our first award this morning is presented to Project Match from the Los Angeles Community College District. The acronym stands for Mentors Act to Change History, and it's a wonderful program that brings diversity into our professional ranks. Accepting the award is Los Angeles Community College District Board of Trustees President Steve Harris. Steve? David, thank you very much. I apologize, we got the wrong name in the script. So please join me in congratulating David and Project Match. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Steve Veras is the president of our board, and he took ill 2 days ago, and I was coming anyway, so I'm speaking in his place. I'm David Border. I'm the Academic Senate past president, current vice president for the Los Angeles Community College District, and we're deeply grateful to receive the award. Match is a wonderful program. We've had it for 22 years. We started partly with a grant, a small grant, but a grant from the State Chancellor's Office, which was seed money in 1991. And we've been going ever since 2022. As I say, we celebrated our 20th a couple years ago with a big bash downtown. We've been a small program for a long time. We had only 18 interns. And so what we are is we have prospective teachers, people who want to teach college. They're usually in their mid-20s. They're always super bright, super dedicated, extraordinary backgrounds. They're having trouble getting in. It's tough to get in. Everybody wants a community college job. They come to us. We have tons of applicants. We've had 650 in the last 2 years. I think we had over 700 about 4 years ago when we advertised on Craigslist. They know it's a good leg in. They know they need some leg in. It's hard. A wonderful, diverse range of backgrounds. They come to us. As I say, our program was small, but about 5 years ago, we tripled it. We tripled it to 50. So now we have 50 interns per year. They're given extensive summer training, which they're undergoing even today, for a couple weeks in the summer. They work with a mentor teacher. There's follow-up. We do mock interview sessions with them. They succeed. Half of them now have placements within our district. Many have placements in neighboring districts and elsewhere. The response has always been terrific by faculty. We have about 200 people in our pool of mentors, 50 of which we use in any given year. And the board has always been extraordinary because we were lucky. 5 years ago was not a time to expand a program. 5 years ago was the beginning of all the budget trouble, but the board was committed enough, and we have stuck to it. So that's a little bit of the numbers behind Match. What I'd like to do now is present Lisa Winter, and she's going to speak a little bit of the human dimension, because that's really, I think, the most touching aspect. But again, on behalf of the board and the whole district, thank you very much.
Good morning. My name's Lisa Winter and I manage Project Match. Distinguished guests, listen to David present his information about this award that was given to Project Match. You will know that it is close to the heart of the Los Angeles Community College District, and it is a very big deal for everyone in LACCD. Project Match is a diversity initiative. It's an opportunity, it's training, it's about teaching new faculty freshly prepared to teach and totally in tune with our students. Thousands of LACCD graduates have been touched by Project Match. Project Match reaches historically underrepresented groups of people and gives everyone a chance to be a teacher. Our interns are passionate about teaching in a community college, but never get that foot in the door because they have no community college teaching experience. We change that. Take Sandra Novia, one of our current 2013 interns, who went to LA City College and thought she was too old for a teaching career. A special teacher changed that, Mr. Booth. He's blind, but he taught Sandra to see. You reach goals once you put your mind and effort to work. Close to 50% of our past interns are now LACCD teachers, librarians, counselors, and administrators. Many are hired by other districts nationwide. Lisa Marino is an English professor and was a 1996 intern. Lisa taught Veronica Delvaux at LA Trade Tech College. Lisa inspired me to work and dream that one day I too could become a community college teacher, said Veronica. Veronica is one of our 2013 interns who will be teaching this fall. And Valerie Giovannini, she was a 2010 intern who went to Pierce College. Community college experience developed an acute sensitivity to students from widely diverse backgrounds. Now Valerie is a teacher at LA City College. Our interns changed the traditional face of departments. We have male counseling and male nursing interns. We have female engineering and female physics interns. In fact, Project Match has come full circle. Over 50% of LACCD adjunct faculty are now from historically underrepresented groups. For the first time ever, adjunct faculty of color are not a minority in LACCD. Project Match made that change. You see, Project Match promotes diversity and equity in academic and vocational disciplines. It addresses departments entrenched in past stereotypes. Project Match is about a better future, and it works. Many people deserve spotlight for this. From the top, the LACCD Board of Trustees, Chancellor, and 9 college presidents, our District Academic Senate, whose tireless networking within the district promoted and support this program and who are represented here today by David. Our steering committee, represented here today by two past interns, Artina McIntosh and Gabriela Lopez. You will hear their stories shortly. Our program coordinator and mentors, past interns, and Jean Little, the director of the Office Diversity Program, standing over there, for his leadership and support and generously letting me work on this program as part of my duties a long time ago. And how lucky was that for me? Thank you for the chance to share 22-year history of Project Match. Thank you for recognizing the success to increase the diversity of our faculty to reflect the diversity of our students. Thank you for honoring LACCD with this prestigious award.
Hello, everyone. I'm a past Project Match 2009 intern, and I now serve on the Project Match Steering Committee, and I am now a full-time professor at Los Angeles Trade Technical College. Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here, and I am honored to be speaking on behalf of the interns. One of the interview questions I was asked before being selected as an intern was, what role do you think community college plays in the community? I said, well, it's a place where people can go who don't know what they want to do. It is also a place where, regardless of race or social economic status, receive quality education, support, to stay motivated, and to be inspired to achieve academic and personal success. It is a place where dreams are made and a place where dreams come true. I was brought up by a single mother on the gang-infested streets of Compton, where I saw people getting shot in front of me and drugs being sold a few feet away from me. I was bullied and harassed and called an Oreo because they said I talked white. I didn't know white had a way of speaking. Although I am Black, I felt that I did not fit in my community. So instead of hanging out in the streets, I hung out in the classroom. Although my life has been challenging, education has always been important to me. I started my college experience at a community college, and that experience helped me achieve academic success and change my life. I received my BA and then my MBA to become the first in my family to receive a college education. After my college degree, I married an Air Force soldier, had 4 children, and opened a couple of small businesses. But after being a small business owner, I wanted to do more. Education and helping people was my true passion, and I was happiest when at a community college. I came to realize that being a community college instructor is what I was meant to do. But who would hire me with no experience? And then I found Project Match. This program had everything, I thought. It had training, support, mentorship, and the best thing was in-classroom, hands-on experience. A month before, I was accepted into the program. I had just buried my youngest daughter and dealing with a husband that was suffering from post-traumatic stress and the death of our daughter. The joy of opening the Project Match acceptance letter was the day of my salvation. As the tears of joy streamed down my face, I told myself this would be the last day of grieving, but the first day of healing and moving on with my life. I was given a wonderful mentor, Annette Jennings, at Napa Valley College. And after the completion of my internship in 2009, I was hired as an adjunct at Valley. Then I applied for my full-time position at Los Angeles Trade and was accepted. And I was amongst 3 other interns of Project Match during the final interview. And then one of those interns were later on to join me at Los Angeles Trade. Every day I'm thankful for the opportunity to be a part of this life-changing program, which has opened the door to help me motivate, inspire, and guide students down their road to academic and personal success. My story is one of hundreds of people whose lives has been changed through this wonderful program. My friend and colleague, Gabriela Lopez, immigrated to the United States in 1996 after taking classes at a community college. She realized she wanted to be a librarian, and in 2002, she graduated with her master's in library science. In that same year, she was the first intern selected in Project Match in the library science category. In 2003, she was hired as a part-time librarian, and today she is a full-time librarian at East LA College, where we are proud interns of Project Match, and we help support the program in every single way. I have made my mother and my family proud, and I found that community college is my haven. It was a place where I could be me, a place where I can fit in, a place where I could be me, a place where now my students are me. I tell my students that success is living out their dreams, and Project Match has allowed me to live out mine. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Our final award this morning goes to Napa Valley College Dean of Career Technical Education, Greg Moralia, who has done an outstanding amount of work making his campus safer for all students. His work truly defines what student equity means. Please welcome and congratulate Greg Moralia.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for this tremendous honor. I was deeply humbled to have been nominated by my college, particularly from my colleagues, and absolutely honored that the Chancellor's Office Committee selected me for this very, very special award. It's really quite overwhelming. And I'm really very lucky to work at a college that has always recognized diversity and equity, and to work with some amazing leaders and folks, starting from our Board of Trustees. Brenda Knight and Bruce Ketron are here from our board. Thank you so much this morning for coming. Sue Nelson, I've known you since my very first day at the college, and you've supported me throughout. Congratulations on your retirement, and thank you so much. Diana Shabodi and Faye Smiley, who are my colleagues and really worked to support me in the creation of an LGBT studies program, wouldn't have happened without you, so thank you for that. And of course, the most important folks are those I team teach with, Damian Sandoval, who's standing behind me. Damian and I have team taught together for the last 30 years, and it's always a pleasure to be in the classroom with him. And of course, the folks who benefit our students. Alex Shantz is here. Thank you so much. And Anthony Morgado, who you'll hear about in just a moment. I think it's central to our mission in education in the community college system to provide programs and services that allow students to learn about others and, more importantly, to discover more about themselves. This is central to our mission. And I've learned so much in my time in the classroom. Those who I work with know that that's where my heart is. It's always been in the classroom, and it always will be. Judy Shepard, a good friend of mine, once said that the way that we will change minds and hearts is to share our stories. And the way that we do that in the community college system is to provide faculty and staff who are different, who have diverse backgrounds and different life experiences. That's what brings the learning to life, in my eyes. But I also know that success in this area is not a destination. It's really a journey. And as our society continues to evolve and change, so will what we need to pass on to our students. And I look so forward to continuing that journey at Napa Valley College. So thank you so much this morning for the honor. I'd like to introduce one of my colleagues, and again, as I mentioned, someone I've worked with and taught with for 30 years now. He's the director of our Police Academy and our Criminal Justice Training Center, Damian Sandoval.
Good morning, everyone. I, too, am the son of migrant farm laborers. And so you hear about all these linkages, and it just really reinforces for me the importance of us to connect at some level fundamentally with the people that we interact with, especially those students who we might reach out and touch and move. I was called here today to talk about our program. Greg Moralia asked me if I would say a few words about what we do at the Criminal Justice Training Center. I was a cop for 30 years, retired from that, and began working at the academy, took over the directorship there. And I can tell you this, we educate a couple of hundred students in the basic academy every year and thousands other in advanced officers training every year by way of certifying courses for the region that we serve. And I think we do a very effective job of that. And I could list all the accolades and I could list all the accomplishments that we have achieved under Mr. Moralia's guidance, under or behind his vision, and through his passion. You could read about those anytime, any place. Get on our website, look at that stuff. It's very important work, true enough. But when you award somebody a prestigious honor, as we do today, and you focus solely on achievement, I think you might miss the heart. And when you miss the heart, you might not get the right recipient. Because it is the heart that drives us, that moves us to connect with our community. One of our fundamental beliefs is cause the students to think. And Mr. Moralia does that. That is his vision every time. You think about your role as a servant leader in your community. You think about what it is that you're going to bring as an officer serving your community. Please think about that. And then we build our assignments around that, and we cause those students to immerse themselves in the community as part of their work in the academy, outside of what they do in the academy, and then to report back and to teach their classmates. And for us, that has been a moving experience, a profound experience. And so you got the guy with the right heart to receive this award. And so as the evaluators read through those papers, that must have reached out and touched them. I know it has me for 30 years, and I'm a better man for having worked with him. I know he is honored. Accolades are not his thing. I'm sure he's humbled. But it has been my privilege to work with him. It is my privilege to call him my coworker, and it is certainly an honor to call him friend. And so congratulations, Mr. Moralia. Thank you all very much for being here, and thank you for all of your hard work. It is so wonderful to hear these great stories for everything that you have done. God bless. Thank you. I'm sorry. Anthony Morgado is a recent graduate from our I say recent, it's already been a year now since he's graduated from our basic academy, and he's here to share his story of training at our program. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm honored to stand here today and talk about, in my opinion, an extraordinary man and how he has impacted my life. I would like to start out by talking about me for a second. It all kind of ties together at the end to make it all make sense. I'm 22 years old. I was born and raised in Solano County. There's two things in my life I've been absolutely certain about. One, that I want to be a police officer, and secondly, that I was gay. The second part, I didn't quite understand at a younger age. Going through school, I knew being gay was a bad thing. I knew I was being called vulgar names. And so it was hard to understand. It's hard to really understand. At the age of 13, I was in 7th grade, and I became the youngest police cadet in the city that I lived in history. My understanding of being a police officer was to help people. That's what they were there for, despite other people's opinions. But what I quickly learned at the department that I was at was that the law enforcement there was not on par with society. What I saw, the way they treated gay people, the names, the words, the vulgar words they would use, it was a big eye-opener for me. I truly believed I was going to be the only gay police officer in the world. In 2003, that was my 7th grade year, I did that for 3 years, and then I went into high school. High school was kind of dark for me. Didn't really see myself in light, didn't see myself, it was just didn't make sense, I guess. And in 2008, as we know, Prop 8 happened, and I learned Solano County had the highest number of votes for Prop 8. So between Solano County learning that people were against gay marriage and that the police department was also on par against gay people, I didn't see myself pass the next day. It got real dark for me. One day after school, I sat on the edge of my bed and I stuck a loaded .45 in my mouth. And I started to pull the trigger. What happened in those nanoseconds, I don't know how to describe other than my family flashed before my eyes. I dropped the gun, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried. After high school, I sucked it up, and I said, I'm not going to allow me being gay get in the way of me becoming a police officer. It's not going to happen. 2012, I joined the Napa Valley Police Academy, and I met Mr. Moralia. I met Mr. Moralia the first week of the academy. His introduction, he walks in the classroom. He goes, "Hi, Mr. Moralia," and he goes, "I want you to tell myself about me." We look at him crazy. Like, "What do you mean?" But okay, we do it. So we say, kids with their hand, I have a wife, you have kids, you're successful. And we go so forth until we have nothing else to say. And he finally goes, "Okay, I'm going to tell you myself about you." He takes out a ring out of his pocket, and he goes, "I'm married, I don't have kids, but I'm happily married to my husband, Tony," who sits over there. And my mouth dropped. I said, "There's no way there's a gay man in a police academy. There's just no way." Something came over me that I said, I got to talk to this guy. I don't know what it was, and I felt the connection. But I talked to him. And so on January 20th, I walked into his office, and I had to look green in the face. And he looks at me, and he goes, "What's going on?" I said, "I have to tell you something." He goes, "What?" And I came out. He's the first person I ever told in my life. What Mr. Moralia has taught me is absolutely been amazing. He has brought the COP project to the academy, which is a community-oriented policing project. What that does is that allows us to go out and research a community of people and then present our findings to our class so we can be better cops out in the community. Just shut this little. So we did our project. He brought us to the Castro, San Francisco, and we got to meet other gay police officers, which was profound to me. Like I said, I truly believe I'm the only gay police officer in the world. It was a big eye-opener. But what Mr. Moralia has taught me is it's going to be okay to be a gay cop. Thanks to Mr. Moralia, I became the first out openly deputy sheriff for Solano County. I mean, what this man has done for me, and I know what he has done for his other students, is truly it's profound. What I liked before closing, the last say is I got the honor to sit into Mr. Moralia's LGBT 120 class. And it's at Napa Valley College. It's about gay history, and he asked his class what they thought of the class and did they get what they want out of it. And there was a student in the back of the class that said, "Mr. Moralia, I want to thank you." And he goes, "You're welcome." She goes, "No, thank you for proving all my teachers wrong, for all my friends wrong, that I am not just a name in a grade book at a community college. They told me my professors aren't going to care about me. I can see the passion when you teach. I can see that you care about every single one of us in this room." And I truly believe that. Thank you, Mr. Moralia, for taking the time and effort he didn't have to help me come out and be the man who I am today. So thank you.
Thank you all. Before we conclude our program, I want to introduce 5 folks who work behind the scenes to make today's activity possible. Ask them to stand as I call their name, and then we'll hold our applause till I get them all on their feet. Paige Marlett Dorr, who you heard Ms. Rice mention earlier. Paige, stand up. Robert Ferguson, right there. Kim McDaniel. Where's Kim? Right over there. Mark Billingsley, right there in the back, and Gary Alexander. Gary? Where is he? Give him a round of applause. Thank you. This concludes the 2013 Dr. John W. Rice Diversity and Equity Ceremony. I want again to give our distinguished guests and our awardees and speakers another round of applause. I want to thank the Sterling Hotel and Thule Catering for a job well done today, and our thanks again to the Foundation for offsetting the expense of this event. And again, Mrs. Rice, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for continuing to help us keep the memory of Dr. Rice alive and diversity foremost and equity foremost in the eyes of California's community colleges. This concludes our program. Thank you all for being here.